Hello, it's Davy Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist, got the word, got it way back. Look, Perrier Street up in front, that was my first one. Got a few more, Hope of Home, Benign Strangers, live at National Sawdust. Been cranking out the Sunnyside Records since 2012, y'all. I've got two Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, Into the Labyrinth. I got word yesterday that the cover is getting prepared for the new book, so we're in the final stages to get the new book about jazz phrasing out into the world. And let's see, it's summer here, it's June, 10th, 11th, something like that. 12th, wow, how time flies. I got the summer stash in full effect, and just got through with some camps, got more camps coming, it's jazz camp season. Trying to get the new crop of musicians excited about the music. But I actually want to talk to you about something else today. And this came as a special request from my former student, Wes Case, who's a great guitarist, just graduated with his master's degree from UNT. He was in the famous 1 O'Clock Lab Band this past year, and he wanted me to do a video on Naima, John Coltrane's, one of his most beautiful compositions, I think. In my humble opinion. And it's a great tune, man. It's on the Giant Steps record from, I was just doing some old Wikipedia research. I didn't realize this record actually came out early 1960. I had in my head that it was 1959, which was such a important year in jazz, right? You got Kind of Blue. I thought Giant Steps. Some great piano, like Everybody Digs Bill Evans is 59. I think Wes Montgomery's first record is 59. Dynamic New Sound. There's so much great music coming out in 59. And I realized today, too, I was always under the impression that it was Tommy Flanagan on piano on Naima, but apparently track 6 on the Giant Steps record is a kind of a totally different band. There's Paul Chambers and Coltrane, but it's Wynton Kelly and Jimmy Cobb, I believe. Remember back in the day when we had, liner notes. I remember reading the Giant Steps liner notes, but maybe I didn't pay as much attention to how the personnel shifts because there's a few different bands. I know Cedar Walton is on some of the alternate tracks, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah, Naima, y'all, it's really interesting for a lot of reasons. Beautiful melody, but also this thing with the pedals. So it's a ballad. It's pretty slow, about 60 beats per minute, maybe a little below that. So you have this harmonically like an E flat sus chord to start it out. The whole A section is over E flat, an E flat pedal. So it's kind of like an E flat sus, dominant 7 sus, to E flat minor, and then perhaps kind of an A major 7 but without the 5th over E flat, so maybe it's a B7. And then kind of a G major 7 without the 5th over E flat, so it's kind of like an E flat 7, sharp 5, sharp 9 to an A flat major over E flat. And I was looking at different charts of this tune. There's a pretty good one in the new real book. It's nice because it gives you the bass line that I'm going to talk about in a second. But also, somehow I don't know where I found this, but this little strip of paper that claims to be the original music that Coltrane gave to the piano player. And it's interesting, I'm going to assume that this is correct. I don't know. I don't remember the provenance, as John Murphy, rest in peace, would have wondered about, like, where did you get this? Is this legit or not? It looks legit. It's a really old yellow piece of paper. And so what it says on that sheet is that he has the A section written, 4 bars with a repeat, and he says D flat major 7, or a D flat with the triangle, to G flat major 7, G flat with the triangle. Then A major 7, A with the triangle for 2 beats, G major 7 with the triangle, A flat major 7. So a series of 5 major 7 sounds, or major triads perhaps. And then at the bottom it says E pedal, E flat pedal. So but the thing is, on the original recording, at least, like I said, on those, I mean, it's pretty. There's not much confusion about what the first 2 chords are. Most people would say E flat sus to E flat minor, and then these chords, it's like, well, is it A major 7 over E flat? But is there really an E natural in there, like the fifth of A major 7? Or is it more like A, C sharp, F sharp? And I don't know the exact voicing that Wynton Kelly's playing, but I looked up something on YouTube that someone said they had transcribed it, and it looked like it was more this kind of voicing. Like G sharp, A, C sharp, like no fifth. An A major 7 sound with no fifth, and then like a G major 7 sound with no fifth. And then an A flat major 7. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll talk about the sort of chord scale, I'm going to go there, y'all, implications of this and the sort of modal mixture, perhaps, that's going on, since it all has an E flat pedal. Maybe like proto, kind of before Herbie and Wayne were messing with a modal mixture and other composers as well. So you have that. Oh yeah, it's a 4-bar A section. Well, I never, it's funny, I never think about the bars before I do these videos. I guess I should. Yeah, so the A section is 4 bars. So you have 4, 4, and then the bridge is over a B flat pedal. So A section all over an E flat pedal, bridge all over a B flat pedal, and you have like a B major 7 over B flat. So it's kind of like a Phrygian sound, B flat Phrygian, to like a B flat 13 flat 9 sound, sort of diminished. Kind of half whole diminished vibe. Then that's repeated. B major 7 over B flat, so B flat Phrygian, B flat 13 flat 9, and then this kind of, I guess you could call it, depending on how you want to spell it or name it, it's like a B flat 7 altered, so sharp 5, sharp 9, or maybe E. Let's see, in the Coltrane, the sheet that claims to be the Coltrane's handwriting, he's just got like specific notes written out for that, so he's got like those notes. So yeah, it's like B flat augmented, and then the sharp 9 on top. He doesn't have an A flat written in there, but you can kind of assume that it's going to be dominant. Then back to the Phrygian sound. Then like a B flat sus, like an A flat major 7 over B flat. And then the last chord's really interesting. It's kind of like an E major 7 over B flat. And I almost said Tommy Flanagan, Wynton Kelly. I just hear basically like those two notes, which are hard to do on guitar. So it's like E flat and E natural, or E flat and F flat, and then I think he also might play a B flat on top. So it's kind of like some sound that you can't get with the B flat and the bass on guitar. So it's kind of interesting. It's maybe like a E major 7, sharp 11 Lydian sound, but it's over B flat. So whatever you call that, I don't know the name of that mode right now. Is that Locrian? But it doesn't really sound like Locrian. To me, I just associate that as being like an E major 7, sharp 11 with the flat 5 in the bass. But I guess if you wanted to give it a mode name, it would be, and name it from the bass note, it would have to be like a B flat Locrian. So yeah, that's interesting. I forgot the bridge is 8 bars, and the A sections are 4 bars. So it's like 4, 4, 8, 4. Wow. I don't know why I don't ever think about that. So 20 bars. Interesting. So how do you play on this? So on the original recording, you just have Wynton Kelly plays a chorus, and it's very sort of impressionistic. It reminds me of Bill Evans a little bit. That's probably why I should have known it wasn't Tommy Flanagan, because he has kind of a different approach. But maybe because Wynton Kelly was Evans' like replacement in Miles's band, he had some of that still going on. Just that sort of like, I don't know, impressionistic vibe. He doesn't really play many single note lines. He just plays. Although I noticed that like on his solo, when it gets to the pedal still happens, but when he does the that second part of the bridge where you have, of the A section where you have a what do you call it, A major 7 over E flat and then G major 7 over E flat. He does go the first time he gets to that, or maybe in the second A, he plays really like an A major triad with the fifth, and then a G major triad F, and then an A flat major triad. So that's maybe some evidence that the that little scrap of paper, I'm looking at a PDF of it, is legit. But yeah, it's beautiful. And then Train comes in with the bridge, and he doesn't solo on this. And they have an outro. They tag the last bit, and then at the very end they do 1/4 in A flat. Really beautiful. I think they do that in Central Park West too, don't they? I'm trying to remember, but yeah, it's a beautiful tune, man. It's just got a vibe, and it's one of those recordings. I hesitate to talk about any other versions of it. I'm sure some other people have done it, but I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the vibe that you get on like Blue and Green, where, I don't know, kind of time is suspended a little bit. You enter this weird kind of like spaced out realm, and part of what contributes to that, I think, is something that I find really interesting. And I don't know if this was written, like that scrap of paper doesn't have this written on it, but the bass line, so Paul Chambers, he goes, so the tempo is pretty slow, so against that chord, he goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So the second measure, it's like triplet, triplet, triple. And Jimmy Cobb plays that with him. And in that second measure, he just goes, I think he's, what do you call it, like brushes on a ride cymbal or whatever. It's like, da, 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 da. So there's a really sort of long, there's 2/3 of a triplet and then a whole other beat, whatever you want to call that, of just kind of silence, because the saxophone is gone. And it sort of feels like time is suspended, and it gives it this real sort of syncopated, maybe polyrhythmic, but I don't know if that's the right term for it, but just the time feel gets really strange. So you got that. I can't do it all, but like... Oh yeah, and I guess the last chord of each A section, he does go to A flat, so it's not totally over an E flat pedal. And he goes A flat. Sorry, it's kind of hard to play all that. And then on the bridge, it's more regular. Just kind of keeping a more regular pattern of like quarter note, bum, bum, bum. Similar pattern. But yeah, I love how that bass line gives it that real suspended, weird, like where are we kind of feel.